For some people, they may not have even thought that freedom was an option while still retaining the business, right? They're seeing freedom must mean that I have to sell this in order to get the money that I need, in order to not have to spend my days doing all of these tasks and keeping up with the fires that keep happening in the business, or to enjoy time with the family. But that's really not true.
And I made I'm 69 years old, made a decision probably about 5 years ago that I just threw it out flippantly, that I wanted to make more, work less. I wanted to have some work-life balance, as they call it now.
We're going to talk today about 4 freedoms, 4 keys to freedom to think about, to really change the game, to pivot from the struggle that you're currently facing to the opportunities created when you have these things in place. And the first thing that we're going to talk about, kind of what you were alluding to already, Steve, is systems over sweat. Hey there, entrepreneur. Welcome back to the Scale to Sell podcast. We're excited to have you here, where we talk about strategically growing your business, how to win at work and life, and how to exit on your terms. Or in today's case, maybe something a little bit before you exit, but we'll get to that in a second. Want to make sure before we dive into this episode on how to create business, personal, and financial freedom before you exit, we want to make sure that you know about a special opportunity that we have. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you may have caught our interview with Jason Early talking about how to get a personal evaluation of your business, both in terms of the financial value of what the current value is, as well as the dream value that we talk about, but also pinpointing some risks and some areas of opportunity that you could fix to help kind of improve the quality of your asset there. Scaletosell.com/value, free personalized report for you, no obligation, no strings attached, those sorts of things. But what an incredible opportunity. We've had a number of people already do that. And so we're starting to see just the impact of learning what that information looks like in their lives, and seeing how it really frees you up when you have that clarity of what is possible and what some of the next steps should be. Great opportunity. Scaletosell.com/value, or click the link in the show notes below. It'll take you right to there. And we'll be sure to remind you about that again at the end of this episode. So again, today we're talking about how to create freedom in your business, in your life, with your finances before you exit. So maybe you're in the situation where you're not looking to sell right away, but you would like to create those sorts of things without having to have the big liquidity event and those sorts of things that comes with an exit. For some people, they may not have even thought that freedom was an option while still retaining the business, right? They're seeing freedom must mean that I have to sell this in order to get the money that I need, in order to not have to spend my days doing all of these tasks and keeping up with the fires that keep happening in the business, or to enjoy time with the family. But that's really not true. There are things you can do now and still enjoy the business while it's growing and while you still own it, that are going to allow you to be able to have those opportunities without or before you get to the point of wanting to sell.
No doubt. I made it a point, I think I've said it here on one of our podcasts before, working for decades in our businesses or whatever, and working whatever it took, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And I made I'm 69 years old, made a decision probably about 5 years ago that I just threw it out flippantly, that I wanted to make more, work less. I wanted to have some work-life balance, as they call it now. Back then, I just wanted to make more, work less. and anyway, but how do you do that? How do you have things when you're the engine and your business relies on you for all kinds of things? What can you do to make sure? So whether you're going to keep it and just want to have a better life, or whether you're going to exit, because as we're going to talk about, the things that you do to get a better life are going to make the business more valuable when you do exit at some point in the future.
Absolutely. And like we always say, scale with the end in mind, right? Right now, your picture of what you want to happen in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years beyond might be one thing, but it's great to know that you've got options. And we're going to talk about that coming up for sure. Oftentimes what we see for business owners, the problem is they often become the bottleneck of their business, right? Everything has to go through them. They're responsible for overseeing so many different aspects of it that they don't have the systems and the teams in place that gives them the opportunity to focus on the roles that they should be doing. And they end up with a lot of other hats that they shouldn't have. And it really, one, it's frustrating. You feel overwhelmed. That's where you see a lot of the business owner burnout that we see happen, that we hear talked about, stuck in the day-to-day without the freedom, without the opportunities. And so really the mindset shift that we're talking about here is you don't need to exit in order to win.
Absolutely.
Right? What you do now to create independence by putting systems and processes in place, by having the teams and a diversified customer base to pull from, is really going to leverage up all of the different opportunities and resources to really create a powerful freedom engine, so to speak, for you, for your life, for your business, all of the things. So we're going to talk today about 4 freedoms, 4 keys to freedom to think about, to really change the game, to pivot from the struggle that you're currently facing to the opportunities created when you have these things in place. And the first thing that we're going to talk about, kind of what you were alluding to already, Steve, is systems over sweat, right? So much of when you're in that startup phase and when you're getting going, you're in the putting the sweat equity into just getting everything done, and you're constantly involved in every single thing that's going on. But what has to take place if you're going to sustainably grow and if you're going to be able to enjoy business freedom, personal freedom, and financial freedom is having systems in place, knowing what you can automate, and then delegating the rest so that you can focus on what you should be doing, and instead of probably, in most cases, what you're actually doing right now in your business.
You can't be everything. If you're everything, you're going to limit your opportunity to grow.
It's all based on you.
Plus, if you have to control every aspect of the business, if you do get key people in the business, they're not going to stay with you.
No.
They don't want to be. They want to be shown a path. They want to control their own destiny, working within your frame. But if you micromanage them, they'll go down the street and work for somebody else. So you got to have the system, but you got to have the people. You got to be careful with your key people. It's hard enough to find them.
Yeah.
You've got to give them the opportunity and then delegate back off and let them do their thing.
The retention is huge. It's a little bit, and this is going to come across probably a little harshly, but it's a little prideful, slightly arrogant of us to think that we're the only ones that can do a particular job. Right now, there may be some truth to certain aspects of it that you truly might be the best person. But if it's solely based on you and you can't let go of it, you're limiting your own value of your business and what is possible. You become the bottleneck of your business, and you are the ceiling. You've artificially limited where your company can go because you can't do everything.
And taking time off, that's not going to be a thing because you got to be there.
Yeah.
All right. And or if something happens with your health, the business can suffer, fall apart, close the doors if you're not careful there too. And to sell the business, they're going to buy you peoples and processes, and because you're not going to be there anymore. And we've said this before, so it all ties into one thing right there.
Well, and even then, I think sometimes business owners, it's easy to say, well, I take time off. And then you look at what actually happens when they're away from the office, and you're like, let me look at the call log on your phone. Let me look at the emails that you were responding to, the chats that you were going back and forth on, and checking in on things and having to put out fires or call this client because of this or that or whatever. Is it really time off, or did you just work from a different location today? Like, there's a big difference between the life that people often say that they want and then the reality of what things actually look like in that time period. So it's important to be honest with ourselves of what we're doing.
Early on, you got to be like that. I think you really got to be like that. I remember I was being away on vacation. Adam, if you don't know, is my youngest son. And being on vacations, taking meetings, doing radio shows live from the
Everyone be quiet.
in Tennessee.
We have to find a Wi-Fi signal.
Trying to find a Wi-Fi on a cruise ship back in the day when there really wasn't much of a thing. but you do what you got to do up front. But again, you get to the point, if your business cannot operate without you, if you don't have the systems and processes in place, it's going to be hard to sell, or if something happens to you, it'll be hard for the business to continue.
Well, and to build off of that, technology changed. You had, our systems and processes changed so that when you were going out of town, we batch recorded episodes so that, hey, I don't have to do that while I'm gone. So, thinking ahead, planning, proactive opportunity there. And it, again, over time, you built the systems to be able to do that, to free up other opportunities. And that leads us to the next one. They really dovetail together, having clear roles and team accountability, right? Going along with, you can't be the go-to for everything. You have to have the clear roles, and what does winning look like for each of those roles? How does each person's tasks really go towards the goals that we have for a quarter? One of the things I love about the CEPAs, the Certified Exit Planners that we work with, the system that they help put in place for every 90 days, having specific goals, goals for that quarter. And they break it down into, okay, here's how we follow up on this, on a weekly basis and a monthly basis to see what's going on, accountability, letting people know, like, okay, where are we at in this process? What things do you need help with? What things are holding us back? That sort of a thing. Accountability is beneficial and good in that way. But it also makes it clear who is doing what and how they're contributing to the overall goals of the company, whatever those look like for you for that quarter. And it makes it about what the team is able to accomplish together and less about what the business owner has to drive through their own personality and sales and connection with things. It makes the business owner's roles more of vision and leadership and understanding things from a high level.
You're the general. You're kind of a general.
Working on the business instead of in it all the time. That's what they mean by that.
No doubt. And there's the, weekly updates, monthly, and every 90-day sprints, just to make sure you're pushing ahead. Some smaller tasks of pushing ahead, making sure. And it takes a little bit of time to get it up and moving. But once you do, there's people will thrive. Key people will thrive in those situations. They look forward. They want to be part of not just they want to make good money. They got to want a comfortable life. They want the same things you do for you and your family, but they want to be part of something.
Yeah.
And maybe they're not entrepreneur minded, but they want to be in an environment where they can control their own destiny and have some input in that. And if they're not, then that's probably not the leadership you need for your team moving forward.
Oh, for sure. When you have those weekly accountability updates and monthly things where okay, here's our specific goals for the quarter. Here's how you as an individual and you as a team are contributing to reach those goals. You're going to see who's excelling and who's not. And maybe it's not they're lazy or incompetent or whatever, but maybe they're in the wrong role, right? Maybe you need the right person in the right role. And this is not that situation. You move them around based on what their strengths are and what they provide for the team. And it gives you the ability to have that well-run operation that's going to be able to create that freedom for you to step away from the business, to take time off, to not always be engaged in the day-to-day operation, and really prevent burnout in so many ways.
Sometimes you got to separate and they're not the right people.
Yeah,
they're not the right seat, and you can't move them internally to another seat. You need to replace them altogether for the good of the business, the good organization, the good of the team, but
good
also
of them.
Good for them. Absolutely.
And really those two things, those two freedoms that we just talked about, systems over sweat and clear roles and team accountability, are really what drive the personal and the business freedom. The ability to have a system, a freedom engine that is going and that can operate, not that you don't want to be involved or not that you don't have a role to play in this, but that it's not always based on you. That if you took time off for personal reasons or, health or travel or whatever, that the business can continue to grow and do that without your constant everyday involvement is crucial.
And I would tell you that it took a while to get it going for me. Make more, work less, but that's where I am right now. All right. I don't see myself retiring anytime soon. All right. But I'm making more money than I ever have. And I'm taking more vacations than I ever thought I would.
It's a good place to be.
8 to 10 vacations a year, some a week or so at a time, some more extended than that. And don't have to worry about the wheels falling off the buggy if I'm not there, with my hand on every little item, every little detail. One, I don't want to be that, right? Two, you limit your growth if you're the end all to everything, whether it's a sales manager, client complaints, if everything has to flow through you, you'll never get to a point where you may be making great money, but you won't have the time to enjoy it. And if you do want to sell or have to sell, it will never happen to the point that you wanted to be at, because you take you out of the mix, the thing falls apart or becomes unprofitable, less profitable, and it's not a good situation.
Exactly. So those are the first two freedoms in order to give you those opportunities for business, personal, and financial freedom before you exit. The next one I think is really key, having predictable revenue and just a strategic compensation plan for you, the owner, right? So for some people, they're looking at the big liquidity event at exit in order to fund what they're wanting to do for the next chapter of their lives. And so you start looking at, okay, how much do you need the business to sell for in order to accomplish those things? But if you're wanting to stay in the business, there is some strategicness to making sure that as an ongoing source of revenue, you've got the opportunity to fund the lifestyle that you need without having to sell.
Ongoing revenue. So it could be, in some places, I'm a financial advisor. So if I sell life insurance and annuities, most of that is a one-time shot. I get paid one time. There's some trailing commissions, but I'm also a financial advisor, and assets under management provide residual ongoing income as long as that business is on the books. We're still managing people's money. And so some industries, it may not be any recurring revenue, like HVAC and other industries have, service contracts where you go back, that's recurring revenue. Or maybe in your situation, there's not any of that, but you have long-term contracts, existing long-term contracts with people. So it may be a 10-year, 20-year contract. We've been doing business with this company for 30 years, right? And so it's kind of recurring revenue as long as you've got a solid situation, got contracts in mind. But yeah, having that in mind or building to that if you're not there just yet.
And having that consistent cash flow where you've got a marketing engine, a sales engine in your business that is really providing the opportunities for growth, for profitability, for the overall value of your business. That's something that you can use as an asset, harvest from, not just at the time of an exit, but before you get there, right? You're able to take the benefit of that and be able to fund your lifestyle ongoing while maintaining ownership of the business and keeping that asset as an incredible opportunity for you financially.
Build recurring revenue if you can, if it's in your industry and you can. If it's not, you're looking for opportunities. If you have contracts, you need contracts with these companies, because if you're doing business, they're going to buy recurring revenue, or they're going to buy contracts with certain clients, especially the fewer clients you have. If you have one or two major clients, you better have a contract in place, or even more than that. You better have a contract in place, because that will take your odds of successfully selling for a price that you want to harvest out there. It increases the odds dramatically.
Absolutely. A customer base that's loyal, that comes back to you, repeat customers all the time, all of those things. This takes us to our fourth freedom, which is kind of like the culmination of everything, because it's the ability to have flexible options, right? When you do the other things that we've talked about here, having systems and processes in place, having the right people in the right roles to be able to run the system when you aren't there, and so that you don't have to be always involved in it, having a profitable business that you're able to harvest the money from before you have the exit, if you end up going that route at some point, having the ability to know that your business is prepared to get a high valuation when and if you ever decide to go to market is an incredible freedom.
It is. And even I was just thinking about your kids taking it over. Well, my kids, I hear that a lot. My kids are going to take over. Not all the time. but it happens a lot. Well, what happens if they're not good at something that you do? You better have a backup plan to have somebody in to do. If they're not good in sales and you are the number one salesperson on your team, you better hire somebody or the business is going to suffer or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
In accounting or customer service or whatever the situation is, having a backup plan and all these things, as Adam mentioned, all these things are going to make the business more profitable for you, giving you a better quality of life. Being if you're going to hand the baton off to the next generation in your business, either your kids or key employee, or whether you're going to go to the marketplace sell to a competitor or sell to a private equity firm, small, medium, large.
Yeah.
So all these things tie in, and it's things you're not going to clear up it all at one time. You start with one thing, and then you cross that off. You fix this, and you keep implementing, and it won't take that long before your business, you'll be able to have that better quality of life, enjoy your time off, and if you do exit, do it on your own terms.
Absolutely. The freedom to sell, the freedom to scale, even the freedom to step back, right? You referenced this before, but what happens if your health changes? Right? You're perfectly healthy now, but that's not guaranteed in the future. If you don't have a system that can run independently of you, you're missing out on that opportunity of if you can't be there, or maybe it's a loved one or another situation that comes up that changes things from where they are now, that makes it impractical or impossible to even do.
We don't like to think about that. We know it. Most business owners know they should have a succession plan in place, but they don't. You think about it. You got a home, you got homeowners insurance, you got cars or whatever you have, car insurance, automobile insurance, truck insurance or whatever, and you have liability insurance and all that. But what is your insurance or assurance that your business will continue? Your largest asset, 80% of your largest asset, but you don't have a plan of action right here. And that's why taking care of these actions here will give you peace of mind that no matter what happens, right? You can be healthy as I've seen owners healthy one day and have a stroke, accident, something happen, and their entire business model changes. I know one specifically we're working with right now, didn't have it laid out, and the kids are going through, son and daughter that are working in the business, didn't have a plan spelled out. Dad didn't. He's still alive, but it's hard to go through and try to get things fixed now. It's much easier to have a plan of action while everything is running well.
If I could summarize this episode in one sentence, it's position your business to be sellable, even if you don't sell right now.
No doubt. You'll always want to be ready to go to market, because if you're ready to exit, you're ready to grow.
Yep.
Right. You can be ready to grow, but not ready to exit. So you want to do these things. And as exit planners, as people that help you scale your business and at some point help you exit the business and selling it, that's what we do.
Absolutely. As a reminder, you can get your free personalized valuation report of your business at scaletosell.com/value, or click the link in the show notes below. Again, we've had a number of people already take us up on that, and we've had those conversations and are just excited about what it means for a business owner to have clarity in the value of their business and where they're at, and even in some of the opportunities to fix some things that maybe they hadn't thought about when it comes to the risks of the asset of their business. And so, great opportunity. Again, free, no obligation, no strings attached. We'd love to be able to share that report with you that's based on your information, your industry specific for multiples and things like that, to really help you get a clear picture of where you're at currently and what is possible with that dream value going forward. Absolutely love to help you. Scaletosell.com/value. Until next time, keep scaling.